So maybe you're not totally loving your job, or you're thinking about making some type of change, a career change perhaps. And you're thinking, why couldn't I just find that perfect dream job? Well, does dream jobs really even exist, or are they mythical figures like unicorns? Today we're going to talk about the reality of dream jobs, what they mean to you, how we're going to find them, and how you can live a life of purpose and meaning, particularly as it comes to your vocation or your career. Hi, I'm Tim Tonella, and welcome to Dream Job America. I'm your host, and we're going to talk about all things hiring on this channel, but in particular, strategies, tools, and tactics for finding your next dream job. In this video today, we're going to cover 3 issues around a dream job. What actually is a dream job? We're also going to take a look at what does a dream job mean to you? What is your dream job? And then finally, we're going to look at how do I actually go out and source or find these wonderful opportunities. So if that's of interest, come on board and we're going to get rolling right now. So first, we're going to start by talking about the idea of what a dream job really is. There's a lot of definitions for it. A lot of things have been written about it. But I think, what it really is, it's an opportunity where you get to basically work every day and fulfill your own personal passions. Do things that you really love, that you enjoy, where you're feeling good about what you're doing. You have a general interest and you feel like you're making some type of impact. Other aspects of a dream job, obviously, is they're going to provide the compensation that you need, not to underscore purpose and meaning, but compensation is important because part of why you work is to provide a living for your family. So that's got to be totally in alignment. But another really big area for a dream job is lifestyle. Now, there's a lot of theories on how hard you should work and you have to pay your dues and all those different things. So I'm not going to say this exactly for beginners, but I would say that whenever you're looking at where you want to find your next job, what type of career you want to have, you almost have to work backwards and look at lifestyle because life is just not about work. It just really isn't. Life is short and you have a certain amount of time. You want to enjoy the totality of your life. And so one of the biggest things in looking at any type of opportunity is what type of lifestyle is it going to give you? Is it going to give you freedom to be able to do the things you like? Or are you going to be kind of constrained, always in the office, working 24/7, beholden to your boss at every whim? Or do you have an opportunity where you can work as you would like, but also have that time to pursue your other passions, to be healthy, to spend time with your family, to have a little personal time for growth, right? And so the perfect opportunity, if you think about it, even though you're working really hard and you're trying to accomplish something, it's also providing you an opportunity to have freedom and flexibility. Now, a book that I always loved that changed my life was Tim Ferriss's The 4-Hour Work Week. So if you haven't read that, it's a little bit tongue-in-cheek for sure. It's funny, but it does bring home that idea, at least Tim's perspective, is that wealth in the future is about mobility and freedom. I mean, after all, why are we really working? If we're working, we can never do anything we ever want to do. There's really no purpose in it. So I think today when people are looking at where they really want to go, what type of career they really want to have, that dream concept is really an opportunity where they can have the financial income they need to live the life they want to be living, to support their family, but also have the freedom and flexibility to do the things that they want in life. So I think that's really important. That's number one. If you haven't really done that inventory to start, that's really the place that you start. You don't take a job because you make a lot of money, or it sounds good, or it's in an industry. You kind of have to start by deciding what is most important to you, what do you want in your life, and then you can back into that opportunity as it fits within that particular framework. The second thing I think is really important when you're considering a type of dream job is what type of sense of purpose is this opportunity bringing to you? If you think about life, we talk about as we age and grow older, that having purpose and meaning is so important, feeling like we've made an impact in the world, and also feeling like we're still relevant. In many, many cases, purpose and meaning are things that are kind of moving humanity forward. So do you feel like you're making a positive impact in the lives of other people? Are you making a difference in this world? When you're older and you look back in time, you say, what did I do? I worked a third to half of all my waking hours, it seemed like. Forget money and all those things, taking care of my family. But when I look back and say, what was the value of the life that I brought into this world? What did I achieve through work? Was I fulfilled? Was there purpose? Was there meaning? Can I look back and say, hey, I really made a difference. I affected a lot of people. I moved that ball forward. Now, that may seem kind of like big picture stuff, but let me tell you, as the decades go by and you look back at what you've done, meaning, purpose, fulfillment, and relevancy are going to be so important to you. Those are the things oftentimes that give people that kind of nod of, yeah, I did a great job. I made every moment. I made my life count. Otherwise, I've seen a lot of people, and I've talked to hundreds of candidates that have this feeling. They look back and say, wow, I did something because the job was there, or I could do a good job in that particular role, and it paid the bills and allowed me to save for a future and got my kids through college, all these things. And I'm not going to knock that. That's very, very important. But they almost have this sense of regret that time's running out, and they're looking for that next final gig where they can deliver some of that impact and maybe make up a little bit for lost time. And as I said before, the perfect dream job, when you look for meaning and purpose, it's not just what you did for your fellow man, what impact you made in the world, but it's going to give you that freedom, give you that flexibility so that you can look back and say, hey, I was also a good spouse. I was a good father. I was good in my community. I was good to my church or synagogue. Whatever is important to you, that opportunity of what a dream job should be able to deliver that impact for you over time. Now, there's so much talk about the famous expression, work-life balance. However, a lot of companies are saying, hey, to really get where we be one day, we're going to have a little discontinuity there. You have to work a little harder, have less balance at home. So when you're looking at a dream job, I think it's really important to make sure if the culture you want to be involved in doesn't give you time to share with your family, to grow personally, to pursue other interests, and that's important to you, that really should be part of the equation. Today, there's so much talk of, mental health issues. We talk about our physical health and how so many people today are obese, and by 2030 or 2035, half the population is going to be obese. I think people don't take time to really think about what is the impact that work, the time commitment and stress is having on your total experience in life, but particularly your mental and your physical health. Look how many people are taking various forms of medications today to control things. And so the dream job should be a job that not only provides you a sense of personal fulfillment and meaning, but that should articulate into not only a sense of well-being, but mental health, feeling good, looking good, being healthy. All these things to me are part of that balance that goes into finding the opportunity. And you know it right away when you're interviewing and you're talking to your potential boss and they're in good shape and they have a great family and you ask those questions, how do you do all this? How do you balance all that, right, with this busy opportunity? And they'll explain to you why that is important and why they are embedding that into the culture or their organization, because that's really important. And so when you're looking for those opportunities, you're talking to people on the various teams that you're going to work with, make sure to ask these questions. They're not too personal. It's not like they're going to think poorly of you because you're getting into things that go beyond work and you don't want to put on make a bad impression. The environment that you want to be in is going to provide that. You're going to see that reflected in the people that you're going to work for and the people that you're going to work with in this dream opportunity. And if you can't find any of that stuff, I would tell you, run and find something new, because opportunities really are like buses. There's another one just around the corner. And once you start to develop that perspective and you have a process and a methodology for developing lead gen for new opportunities that could fit that dream perspective, then all of a sudden you feel more empowered to make those decisions and wait for the right thing. Okay, now the final thing we want to talk about is, okay, I've got a sense for what a dream job could be for me. And now I need to go out and actually find those opportunities. So how do I do it? I mean, are they going to come to me? Do I proactively go out and get them? Well, there's a couple of things we're going to talk about in a broad sense. But the first one involves, again, as I've talked about on many videos I've made, discoverability. You have to put yourself in a position where you can be discovered. Unfortunately, most things in life, opportunities that just don't come to you. You have to go out and make that happen for yourself. And so we talked about before tools like LinkedIn, social media, where you have to have an actual storyline, use keywords, and all the different features and tools that at least we can put forward online and in our marketing communications, so that lots of different opportunities are coming to us, so that recruiters know how to find us, so that hiring managers who are using tools like LinkedIn, looking at our profiles, know how to pull us up and see if the messaging that we're sending is echoing with the needs that they have. The dream opportunity isn't magically going to come to you. You have to be prepared. Preparation is everything. And this isn't something you just do in between jobs. It should be an ongoing thing, because you always want people to be able to come to you and present great opportunities to you. I think one of the issues so many people make these days is they get a job or they're in a job and they figure, well, I'm working right now, I'm kind of busy, and they just figure, hey, I'll look for my next job when I'm in the need, when I'm terminated or I leave, or something's happening and I'm reading the tea leaves and I think, uh-oh, things aren't looking good. And now it's time to get my act in gear. Now, I think that's a responsive action that most people have. But if you really want to be fielding opportunities constantly, again, you have to be in a state of constant preparation. And this really is a process. It's not something that you just do for a small amount of time and then you leave it. It's a skill set that you have to develop. No one teaches you how to do this in school. I've been involved in this for 20 years almost, running an executive recruiting firm and working with C-level executives and company leadership for many decades, as well as when I was in a corporate leadership roles. We did very much of the same thing. And so I kind of know what works and what doesn't work. And I can tell you, if you set up a methodology, you will be successful and more opportunities are going to come to you. And if you know inside what you're always looking for, what that dream characteristics are, as we talked about earlier, then you'll be able to engage the right people at the right time. And again, the most important word to remember is strategy. So you really do need a strategy for how you're going to build that dream network, those dream recruiter relationships, the perfect LinkedIn profile, the perfect resume, the perfect pitch, so that you're aware if you're in line at a coffee shop and you're engaging in a discussion with someone who's also waiting in line, and they ask you, hey, what is that you do? What do you do for a living? And you start talking about it. Are you able to communicate that in a way in which the other person says, oh my gosh, that sounds amazing, and maybe they are going to present a great opportunity to you. So having a focus is really important. And it's not just about a dream job. It's also about building a dream network. Look, networks don't happen accidentally. I think so many people, when they start looking for a job, they go out there and they say they're networking and they're just talking to various people that they've worked with. The dream network is something that you are going to build. And you're going to build that with strategy in mind, with the end game looking forward to finding that perfect opportunity. And this itself is a process. And we're going to talk about how to build that perfect dream network in future videos, but also how to weaponize or mobilize that dream network so that they're able to go out and field opportunities for you through their own connections and bring those back directly. Okay, so what are our takeaways? Well, the first thing I think that's really important to always remember, not only about looking for a dream job, but life in general, is never settle. One of the things I see so often is somebody begins to look for a job and they're out there, they're doing some networking, they're looking at job boards, and they find a job that's available, that's open, and they start thinking like, hey, I could do that job. I could, and they try to figure out like, how can I make my case that I can fit into that role? And they're really not looking at like, is that really the best role for me? Is that the best I can do? Or are they just kind of looking at the limited set of opportunities that they happen to become aware of, and then they just go for that small subset. And I see that so often. I used to joke that imagine if Americans just went to one or two cities and they picked the best candidates, the best folks. Are those really the best? Well, it's possible, but they don't go to two cities, do they? They go to like 20 cities or 30 cities. They broaden that web so that they have more opportunities to find the very best. And I think when you look for a job, it's the same thing. Now, if all you know what to do is call recruiters and apply to a couple job boards and just go to the people you work with in the past, where you're going to find a limited amount of opportunities. But as you think about taking the next job, it's really important. Am I really settling? Have I really kind of done everything I could do to discover all the opportunities that are out there for me? Should I try something new? What you're going to learn through the content on this channel is it doesn't matter what industry you want to go into, what type of company you want to go into. There is an entire process that you can use to source opportunities, source people, and really get in there and discover for yourself what opportunities are going to be best for you and your family over the long term. But the most important thing is don't ever settle. Now, even if you say, hey, man, I've been unemployed for like 2 or 3 months, cash burns high, got to pay the bills, took this job, seems like a good deal. I get that. And sometimes you have to make that decision. But then don't get into that role and then get sucked into 4 or 5 years of doing it and maybe missing out on building the right relationships or building the skill set and experience level that you're going to need to find what you're really looking for. Don't ever settle. Have a game plan. Even if you have bumps in the road, intermittently, things do happen in the macro environment. We have things like the pandemic, there are layoffs, all kinds of crazy things can happen. Health issues with your family member, maybe even you. If you have a strategy and approach, get back on track. Life is something you never want to look back at the end of it and say, how was your life? And you said, well, it was pretty good, but I kind of settled. I don't want to be in that camp, and I certainly doubt that you do either. So don't ever settle. Another big takeaway, nothing in life ever happens by accident. Now, we talked about this a little bit earlier in the video, but if you want opportunities, not that you can't discover them accidentally, but you got to go out there. In order to make it happen, you have to be prepared to receive when they come to you, but you also have to have a game plan so that you can proactively be looking and going forward and putting together those building blocks that are going to make you more attractive and more discoverable for those dream opportunities that you're really looking for as you move down the road in your career. And finally, kind of a credo, life is short. If you think about it, time is the only rare commodity that we really have. And you don't want to waste 5-10 years pursuing something where you didn't find tremendous meaning and purpose in it. You want to be able to look back and say, hey, I made the most out of it. And always remembering that time is short and that it's fleeting will really provide an impetus for you to constantly move forward and figure out what are my real priorities, what could I be doing differently, and where do I really want to spend the rest of my life working to make a big impact in my life. And there's a great commencement speech that was done by Steve Jobs to Stanford. And you go ahead and you can just Google Steve Jobs Stanford commencement speech. But it's about 15 minutes long. I think it's one of the shortest commencement addresses to a graduating college class that was ever recorded. But in many people's eyes, it is perhaps the greatest one. For me, it's just unbelievable. And it beats home that same storyline that life is very short and it is fleeting. And we kind of know what happened, to Steve Jobs at the time. He had made that address. He was ill, but I think he went through a recovery period. But those short 15 minutes of reflection over his life and the arc of his experiences really echoes back to this idea of if you're not doing something where you're really, really feeling like you're making a difference in the world, then maybe it's time to make a change and to take the steps that you need to take so that you can move into something that's more fulfilling, where you have a greater passion and you feel like you're living more to your true purpose. So maybe when we use the preface dream, like dream anything, maybe it's really not some concrete objective that you get to, but it's more of a journey that we're on of constant self-discovery, constant evolution, personal evolution, and doing the right thing so we can discover that meaning and purpose over time. And to me, that's kind of what dream is, and it can certainly be applied to a job, vocation, or a career. I mean, one thing's for sure. You can't start looking for something unless you can first define what that looks like to you. If there's anything I've ever learned from 20 years in recruiting, that you can't aim if you haven't set a target. So you've got to get started as step number one. So get started as soon as possible. Make it a priority. Set your ambitions really, really high and go out and get everything that you're really looking for in life, particularly a job and that dream career. Now, if you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and please hit the like button. And again, as I've mentioned in other videos, for joining me, we have a free download for you. It's my 4-step job search preparation guide, and it's absolutely free. And you can look at the website that's going to appear on the screen, or you can go into the YouTube show notes below, and there will be a link which will connect you to a website. You can download my 4-step job preparation guide. It's incredibly comprehensive, and it's going to give you a sense and perspective for what you should be doing kind of day to day, whether you're working, whether you're happy or not in that job, whether you're thinking about making a change, or you're actively looking and going through that process. It's really going to be a big benefit for you. It's absolutely free. So that's it for now. As we say in recruiting, happy headhunting, and I look forward to seeing you on future videos.